kind of thing, but this gritty kind of in-your-face fighting, which we see again with John Wick, we see with other movies.
Which, and over in Chinese film, kung fu films and stuff, they were doing the up close like stuff.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we don't want to talk about this.
We're referring to Western cinema in general, but like it really was. And now you have, you eventually had Van Damme doing a bit more up close stuff. He wasn't just doing his incredible, which are amazing on screen, just these huge front kicks and spin kicks, and everyone's like, oh my gosh. He was doing a bit more hand-to-hand, fist-fist flying stuff, which, by all accounts, came in at a boom for action movies, and it came in through Seagal. Yeah,
it did. I mean, and you look at anything now, I mean, you see people like Jason Statham, you see The Rock, you see those guys who have been in those action movies now. I mean, with up close, like, is great, and it's just like, I think that's what people want to see now. I mean...
I agree.
Yeah, I think, like, and it's good. It's good because I think 80s, 90s, and even some of very early 2000s was very Hollywood, let's give them the moves and the kills, but it's not, like, as violent as it is. And it doesn't have to be as violent, but it's still, like, let's show more of an art to it. And even though I know some of these people aren't, aren't high in their realm of martial arts, whether they have a belt or anything, but it's choreographed.
Which Steven Seagal was very quick to point out.
Right, yes, yeah. Nobody is.
No one is worthy of being called tough in Hollywood except him, and maybe that's true. Who am I to argue with a god, which he is now? But
he's a deity.
He's a deity. Yeah. So you got Steven Seagal. You got. This killer fucking cast. I would be interested if you have any memories of seeing Under Siege for the first time. I can say pretty positively, I did not see this movie in theaters. Yeah. Pretty sure I rented it. Yeah. I knew about it. If you have stories about seeing Seagal, whether it was in a theater or Under Siege in a theater, or if you remember renting it, hit us up at our Gmail, bbkaratepodcast@gmail.com. Right. We'd love to hear your stories about your experience with the movie Under Siege, or hell, even Under Siege 2. Throw it in there if you want to. Yeah. But we'd love to hear, because I think what Marcus and I really connected over initially was just talking about these movies.
Yeah.
And if you have a story about Under Siege and when you saw it or what it was like, maybe you saw it with your parents and it was uncomfortable, send that email to bbkaratepodcast@gmail.com. So this movie came out October 9th, 1992. So it was bookended between September and November. So let's go over what was in the theaters at this time. So September 1992 releases included Reservoir Dogs, big one, sort of game changer, in fact.
Yeah.
The Crying Game, Hellraiser 3, Last of the Mohicans, School Ties, Singles, Bad Lieutenant, Harvey Keitel.
Oh, love Bad Lieutenant.
Harvey Keitel.
Yeah. Reservoir Dogs, Bad Lieutenant,
and Captain Ron. Captain Ron, the classic.
Captain Ron's great movie.
Kurt Russell, Martin Short, loved it as a kid. So that was in the theaters probably when this movie was released. The other movies it was released with in that month, right around the same time, in fact. You had October 1st, Mr. Baseball was released. October 2nd, Little Ditty called The Mighty Ducks. Never heard of that. October 9th, for the more calm people, A River Runs Through It. Army of Darkness, still love that movie to this day. Holds up. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. 1492, Conquest of Paradise, a movie about Christopher Columbus. Probably doesn't hold up as much. Never saw it. Never looked interesting to me. Still doesn't to this day. October 16th, Candyman. I mean, what a big 2 months. Yeah. And October 23rd, Pure Country.
Oh,
My mother loved this movie, and Marcus did too, but Marcus has a really fun story about going to see this movie for the first time. Marcus?
Yeah, okay. Let me set the stage.
Yeah.
This is opening weekend. It might have been opening night, I think it was.
So we're talking October 24th, 23rd.
Yeah.
Marcus Hall in Odessa at this point?
Yeah.
He's in Odessa, Texas.
Odessa, Texas.
He's looking to go see a movie about country.
Yeah. I mean, and who better than George Strait puts out a fucking movie? Man, and so me and my buddy, Michael, we go to, this wasn't Wynwood Mall, which is where I saw another movie that we'll get into. but later on. But this is at Wynwood Mall. It's a mini mall. And we go and see Pure Country. And I remember, again, like Adam said, this is a different time. You know, our parents drop us off. This is like 7 at night. We wanted to go see it. Our Wynwood Mall, our mini mall, was right by it was a Southern fried place, you know, a restaurant called Grandy's. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Grandy's. Adam hasn't, by the look he's giving me.
No, I have no idea.
But you can get chicken fried steak. Anyways, we ate at me and Michael by ourselves. I mean, at this time, this is 1992.
So your parents dropped you off at the 20? How'd that work?
Yeah. And so, you know, we get some money from our parents, and we eat at Grandy's. You know, at this time, I am 12 years old, and we eat at Grandy's, we go to Wynwood Mall, and we go to see Pure Country. When we get in there, we sit down. There's not a lot of people in the theater.
That was true to the box office receipts as well. Yeah. There was never a lot of people in the theater.
I think Michael and I, as 12-year-olds, were the most excited United States participants of Pure Country. I was very excited. I was so excited. I didn't know what it was like to see somebody else act who wasn't an actor. You know, it was like...
That's interesting.
Yeah. You know, this guy, I've only seen George Strait sing and just look cool in fucking blue jeans and a cowboy hat. Cool. Yeah. And now I'm going to see him act? Come on, man. So we go to see Pure Country. We sit down. Not a lot of people in the theater. About 3 rows in front of us, there's a man, probably, I would guess, you know, 30s, 40s. And during even the previews and everything, he's just yelling, "Yay, Dusty. Yay, Dusty. Come on, George Strait." Like, he yells these things like, "Come on, George Strait. Yay, Dusty." And which, after the movie, I realized, oh, maybe he's seen it once already. But it gets into the movie, and he just keeps on yelling, "Yay, Dusty. Yay, Dusty." Why is this guy just yelling during a movie? This is Pure Country. This is George Strait. Let us enjoy this movie. And in the middle of the movie, we start seeing him making a motion with his hands. And you know, we didn't know. We just saw what he was doing, and we both looked at each other, and we were just like, "What's he doing?" Well, then we come in and see, you know, one of the ushers come down, or one of the guys who was working. I guarantee you there are no ushers working at a box office in Odessa, Texas. But it was just somebody who worked there, and I guess somebody reported him or told, but apparently this guy was just masturbating during the movie.
Now, was he alone?
Yes, he was alone.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
So he was alone, and did you see someone? There were other people in the theaters too. We should clear that up. It was sparsely packed.
As far as I can remember, I remember us sitting like near the back because as kids, and maybe this is just me, but maybe we always thought it was cooler to sit in the back to see who else was in the theater. And maybe we would see somebody we knew.
That's a small town thing, but keep on going.
Yeah. But we always wanted to see who else was in the theater, if we knew anybody else.
No, I started sitting in the back after one time at a movie theater. Someone leaned up to me. Mm-hmm. This was before stadium seating.
Yes.
They leaned up to me. I was maybe 3rd row, 4th row back. They go, "Hey, can you move your big-ass fucking head?"
You do have a huge head.
Oh, it's enormous.
Yeah.
But you imagine
I know, just
10-year-old Adam like, "Oh, yeah." And pretty much after that, I always sat in the back row.
That makes sense. And that's a good point you bring up. This wasn't stadium seating. This was everybody's on the same level here.
Same plane.
Yeah, and so everybody's looking at the same view. But, you know, we see this guy, and as far as I remembered, we were sitting in the back, and I, you know, just off the top of my head, I would think maybe 15, 20 people tops in this theater at this time. But I do remember, like, some people closer to him, or maybe a row or two ahead, behind him, which probably saw him or heard what he was doing, and you know, went back, turned him in.
We're just here to get a good Christian time with George Strait.
Right, and turned him in, and you know, it never crossed my mind. Like,
you never thought, oh, he could be a special needs or someone who maybe has social issues.
Well, even that. I just figured that it wasn't wrong to masturbate in a theater. You know, I just
Let me say, I've heard this story before, and I've never heard that train of thought as that is the takeaway.
I guess we could be honest here, but like...
So when Pee Wee Herman got arrested, you're like, Yeah.
Well, again, at that time I was older, so I knew that it was wrong.
Okay.
But I hadn't, I'd never seen anything up to this.
I see. So you're old enough to be like, right or wrong, but you think, I guess it is wrong to masturbate.
Right, exactly. So it's like, I didn't find it gross. I didn't think that this guy was going to do anything to us as we were younger kids at that time. I just thought, like, poor guy, he doesn't get to see Pure Country.
He's got to get dragged out.
Yeah.
So you go see this film at this mall.
Right.
Odds are, you got fucking Under Siege playing at the same marquee.
Oh, I'm sure.
Your marquee is littered with some badass films.
I didn't even know what was going on. Probably.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for divulging that and letting us know when you found out masturbation in the theater was frowned upon.
Don't do it, kids.
So for me personally, these 2 months were pretty big movie months. This was movies specifically that I saw in September alone in a movie theater were Last of the Mohicans.
Alone.
Adam
Archer by yourself.
Adam Archer. I can vividly remember, I don't know why, but specifically Last of the Mohicans getting dropped off. It was... I didn't like it at the time. It's a much better movie to watch as an adult.
Yeah.
Like, it's just... You imagine, I was... 1992, I was 9.
Yeah.
I was 9. I was 9 being dropped off at a movie theater to watch Last of the Mohicans alone. And I know I was alone because my mother never wanted to go to a movie theater. She never liked it, wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
There's one movie that she went to see with me, and it was The Universal Soldier. And it's the only movie she ever saw with me as, like, past 5 or 6.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, I paused because it's not like she wouldn't have gone to see movies with me at 7. I'm sure she did. I don't remember those, but I remember it being a big deal that my mother came to see Universal Soldier with me. Anyway, I got dropped off. I watched Last Mohicans alone.
That's crazy. How did you come out of that movie? Did you come out a new man? Did you come out
that
reborn?
Movie was long.
Yeah, okay.
You imagine? You know, it is some cool stuff.
Right.
It is, I mean, the fight scenes... it's an action movie. It's in its own way. It's a love story.
You get Daniel Day-Lewis at a young age.
Oh,
there.
He is handsome.
Yeah.
Go back and look at some still
long
footages
hair,
of Daniel Day-Lewis in Last of the Mohicans, and it is. I think my mother let me go see that one because it was a book.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So it's like this historical novel.
Right.
Like, let's go see it. The movie I don't know how I got to see was Hellraiser 3. I saw Hellraiser 3 alone. I remember going to the movies. I'm pretty sure my mother knew I was going to see Hellraiser 3. And I remember going to the movies just terrified the whole time. But I think I told my friends that I was going.
So had you seen a Hellraiser 1 or 2?
Absolutely not.
No, this is your first intro to Hellraiser.
I'm not good with horror movies.
Yeah.
I would have nightmares based on the box covers.
Right.
Like the art and movie. I would avoid the horror sections in movie stores because I was worried. So here I am. How I got in, maybe my mother bought my ticket. I can't say for sure. I got in October 9th, 1992, or September of 1992, to watch Hellraiser alone. In the whole car ride, I was terrified.
Building yourself up.
I wanted to back out. I wanted to back out.
Of course you did.
I was like, I'm going to go see a different movie.
Yeah.
Or just buy a ticket to a different movie. But I didn't. I stuck to it because I knew my friends would ask me
How
questions.
good is this story going to be to tell your friends that you sat through?
Yes, I saw Hellraiser. And Hellraiser 3 was when Hellraiser first came to Earth.
Right.
Right? I think the first one's in hell, or the first one's in like this dimension inside the box.
Yeah.
And the second one is in hell itself. Right. Third one, Hellraisers come to Earth.
Yeah.
And the first scene you see are these people these drug lords in this really nice apartment, and they just got this piece of art, which is Hellraiser, and Hellraiser sucks the flesh off of the woman he's having sex with.
Yeah.
This is the first 5 minutes. I was, it was a lot. I'll say that. I don't know why I would have been like, oh, let me go see School Ties.
Right.
Nazi, maybe because it was about Nazis. But I wish I would have seen Captain Ron or something. But I watched the whole movie. I stayed through the whole thing.
I don't know what's worse, seeing Pure Country with somebody masturbating in the theater or seeing Hellraiser for your first
with a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Imagine just about 30-year-olds around just like, are you okay, kid? I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I'm good. So, that is September and October releases.
both of us with some pretty. I don't know. One thing I really like about older '90s action movies